What if I tell you today, in the history of Cameroon, there are certain individuals that made today's Ambazonian Defense Forces look good due to the fight they put on during the revolution that led to the independence of Cameroon? Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Bryanklfactab, where we always do deep research to bring to you important content. And today we are bringing forth to you certain individuals that fought back in the days in the revolution that led to the independence of Cameroon. Without much ado, we're going to be starting off with Ruben Umnyobe. Ruben Umnyobe, this little boy who was born in 1913 in Sompek in Cameroon during the French colonial rule. He grew up from a poor family and attended local missionary schools where he learned French and became highly educated as compared to all the Africans back in his generation. As he grew older, he became angry the way the French authorities treated Cameroonians. Africans had few rights, little power in politics, and were often forced into labor. So, in 1948, he helped create the Union de Population du Cameroun, the UPC for short, a political movement demanding for the reunification and the independence of Cameroon. Umnyobe was very famous for his popular speeches, and he even spoke in the United Nations organization, asking the world to support in Cameroon's freedom. But the French saw him as dangerous, and in 1955, the UPC was banned, which led to a violent rebellion. And during this rebellion, Umnyobe flee and went into the bushes and the deep forest in the nation of Cameroon, right up to 1955 in September, when the French forces finally located him, shot him to death, and displayed his body publicly. Today, many Cameroonians always salute him for being one of the heroes in the fight for the independence of Cameroon. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you have been with me right up to this point, please subscribe and support us to always bring you very interesting content by commenting whatever you want to see. Next, we dive into Ernest Nwandi, who was born in 1924 in the west region of Cameroon. He attended mission schools and became a teacher before diving into politics. He, being inspired by his predecessor Umnyobe, continued leading the UPC in hiding from the forest and the mountains all through until he became betrayed in 1970, where he was arrested by the French forces and he was killed, or let's say executed, by firing squad in January 1971. And believe me when I tell you, his final words showed no signs of remorse. And next, we're going to be talking about Felix Roland Mumi, one of the leaders of the same UPC, Union Population du Cameroon. Born in Fumban, that is still in the west region of Cameroon, in 1925, he attended Cali schools and he later on studied medicine and became one of the greatest doctors back in the days of the French colonial rule. He joined the Union Population de Cameroon and also became a freedom fighter. After Ruben Umnyobe died, Mumi became a new leader and he traveled across Africa, Europe, and Asia. That is why he is named the rebel poison in Europe. In 1960, while in a meeting in Geneva, Switzerland, he was secretly poisoned with thallium by one of the suspected French secret agents. He died days later, and many believe he was assassinated because. Next up, we're going to talk about King Rudolf Douala Mangabe, who was labeled as the king who defied Germany. Rudolf Douala Mangabe was born in 1873 in Douala during the German colonial rule. Unlike many African kings at the time, he received education in Germany and understood European politics to his fingertips. When German authorities started taking African lands unfairly and mistreating the people of Cameroon, Mangabe strongly opposed them. He wrote petitions and tried using diplomacy to defend the people's rights. but Germany accused him of treason, and in 1914 he was executed by hanging. His death shocked many Cameroonians, and today he is remembered as one of the earliest heroes that led the resistance against colonial rule. Trained by the Germans themselves, Martin Paul Samba later turned against the empire he once served. Born in 1875 in Cameroon, this young man, Martin Paul Samba, was taken to Germany where he received military training and became a German soldier. But after returning to Cameroon, he became frustrated with the German colonial oppression and secretly planned resistance against the colonial authorities. The Germans discovered his plans and accused him of organizing rebellion, and in 1914, he was executed by firing squad in Ebolova. Today, many Cameroonians see him as one of the earliest armed resistant figures against the colonial rule. And now we move into one other young gentleman who was called the Marxist revolutionary. This was Osende Afana, who was born in 1930 in southern Cameroon. He studied economics in France and became heavily influenced by the revolutionary ideas and became an African revolutionary liberation mover. He joined UPC rebels as well, and the independence they fought for became a common fight. Afana later traveled to Congo and other African countries, working with the revolutionary networks. In 1966, Cameroonian troops killed him during military operation in the southeastern part of Cameroon. His writings later inspired many African revolutionaries, educated in Europe but ready to die in the jungle for revolution. Now we dive into the individual who was known as the mountain resistance warrior in the person of Kuva Lekinye, who was the traditional Bakwe resistance leader from the Mount Cameroon region during the German colonial expansion. When German forces attempted to dominate the local communities and lands, Bakwe warriors resisted fiercely. Kuva Lekinye became associated with local resistance efforts against the colonial occupation around the Mount Cameroon. Although less internationally famous, many local traditions still remember the courage and resistance of these fighters. Before modern politics, warriors from the Mount Cameroon fought to protect their land from colonial invasion. Some were called freedom fighters, others were called rebels, but every one of them changed the Cameroon's history forever. Now we come to the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed me. That's why I keep begging on you to subscribe, comment, like, and share. Stay with us in this interesting journey as we keep going. Have a nice day. Bye-bye, guys.